Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining today's webinar. My name is Melissa Stept and I'm the Marcom Manager here at Cardiolog Analytics. We also have our Marketing Manager, Erica Harris, on this webinar as well to answer any questions if they come up during the Q&A session. I'll go ahead and kick things off. Today's webinar is about managing change with the power of gaming in SharePoint and Office 365. A bit of housekeeping first. This webinar is being recorded. If you want to share this with a colleague, we're going to be sending an email with the recording after today's session. And of course, if you have any questions, please send them through the questions box within the GoToWebinar panel. We'll leave some time towards the end for a Q&A. You can also connect with us on Twitter with the Twitter handle @Cardiolog. In regards to the agenda for today's webinar, we're going to start out with a very short introduction. I'll talk a bit about Cardiolog Analytics and who we are, and then I'll jump straight into gamification for SharePoint and Yammer, where we are now with engagement in the digital workplace. Then we'll discuss SharePoint and Office 365 migration and its challenges, as well as the process of managing change during your migration. I'll then jump into a presentation of our revolutionary product Gamify to show you how we can use gamification methodology to effectively manage change in any organization. And at the end, we'll be taking some questions, so feel free to send your questions throughout the course of the presentation. Brief introduction first. Cardiolog Analytics has been around for about 13 years now, since 2005, and we're based out of Boston. Over the past 13 years, we've been focused on web analytics designed for SharePoint and now Office 365. Our flagship solution is Cardiolog Analytics, and it's built specifically for internal platforms, including all versions of SharePoint from 2007 to 2016, as well as SharePoint Online and Office 365. We can also track third-party tools like Yammer, Citrion, and CRM tools. Our solution is available both on-prem and as a SaaS version based on Power BI. Just a little bit about our vision as a company. We've been working with our customers for over 13 years, and this slide shows our evolution. Our goal is to help our customers constantly improve SharePoint based on how it's being used. So there are three main pillars that we talk to customers about. The first pillar is monitoring activity, which is tracking the usage within SharePoint with in-depth intranet analytics, insights, and usage reports. Our customers realized that understanding usage analytics is often simply not enough. They wanted a way to take action based on the insights gained from monitoring their portal usage. The second pillar is engaging users, asking them what their needs are, what their pain points are, and what's not working for them. And then finally, the most important pillar is enhance. We want to make sure we're constantly improving SharePoint based on these pillars. The idea is to have actionable metrics, which will allow us to constantly make SharePoint better for our users by increasing corporate productivity and improving portal ROI. We're going to go into a brief overview of our various analytics and employee engagement solutions. Our flagship product is Cardiolog Analytics. This is available both as an on-prem and as a SaaS solution. Cardiolog Engage, a great interactive solution for sending internal communication campaigns across the SharePoint portal and engaging with your users. With Engage, you can connect with your users to know what their needs are, launch surveys, and dig deep to understand how you can improve various aspects of the portal. And finally, today we're going to talk about Gamify. We'll focus a lot of our presentation today on how you can use gamification methodology in your change management plan to motivate your users and improve your SharePoint adoption. First, I want to talk about the challenges portal administrators face to explain the need for introducing gamification. 70% of the workforce is actively disengaged at work, and this results in a huge loss of workplace productivity. When you bring in migration, a huge challenge is that training and the learning environment are often disconnected from real work. Employees get very excited during training, but once they return to their day-to-day work, this excitement disappears. There is a need for constant guidance beyond just sporadic training periods in order to continuously motivate users to adopt new behaviors and have a long-lasting effect after the rollout. This is where gamification comes in. Gamification is the craft of taking all the fun and engaging elements found in games and applying them to the real world. Gamification focuses the design of tools back to its most important element, the end user. It's a design process that optimizes for human motivation in the system as opposed to pure efficiency. According to a recent Gallup survey on employee engagement, employees that receive regular individual recognition and rewards for doing good work are responsible for a 10 to 20% increase in revenue and productivity. To bring this back to SharePoint, gamification allows companies to create lasting changes in behavior that drives SharePoint adoption and productivity. Gamification drives employees to boost their involvement with SharePoint, so they make better use of SharePoint collaboration, communication, and management capabilities before, during, and after a migration. Now I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to Gamify. To solve some of the most pressing SharePoint challenges, we created Gamify, a SharePoint-based gamification service which encourages users to take action in the portal and incentivizes users before, during, and after a rollout. Gamify is a radically new way to drive productivity and adoption through a gamified user experience. It helps you to make your activities, content, and your users more visible within the intranet with an end goal of boosting SharePoint adoption and productivity. Gamify is available to deploy on SharePoint On-Prem, SharePoint Online, and Yammer. With Gamify, your organization can do the following. Use recognition to reward contributions. Employee recognition can always be improved, and Gamify provides continuous recognition via badges, leaderboards, and tokens, driving employee adoption of and contribution to SharePoint. This in turn motivates existing users and encourages new users to adopt SharePoint as a key component in their work habits. With Gamify, admins can easily tap into user motivation, encourage users with targeted user dashboards and web parts within SharePoint, display their engagement score, how they compare to their peers, their best performing content, and next step suggestions. Gamify drives social engagement. Gamification encourages collaboration and rewards it, creating a strong social driver for the use of SharePoint. It also improves compliance. It drives repeat visits to SharePoint to ensure that compliance goals and communication dissemination requirements are constantly met. Gamify can improve onboarding and training processes with user score updates and next step suggestions. Gamification works well in training, whether for onboarding or on the job. Used with SharePoint, it can create a measurable increase in the completion of training tasks and the involvement in learning. Now let's walk through what change management is, how it is crucial to any migration, and how Gamify can help administrators to achieve their adoption goals during an Office 365 rollout. If you're joining us today, you are likely in the process of or have already decided to take the big step of migrating to a new version of SharePoint or Office 365. As daunting as this may seem, there are a variety of ways to manage and take control of this process. Each of our 3 analytics and employee engagement tools can play an important role in your migration, whether you're moving to a new version of SharePoint or migrating to the cloud. The key here is that you can only manage what you measure. How can we measure the deployment, analyze it, and ensure success throughout all steps of the migration? By leveraging analytics, you can identify KPIs and uncover key insights about your portal usage before, during, and after your migration to make your rollout a success. Before the migration, you can view your most and least active users. During, you can see which users are still viewing the old portal or old pages. After, you can see who has quickly adopted the new portal and who is resistant to change, and identify who needs more help with this technology learning curve. Your SharePoint migration might meet all of your technical requirements, but there are several critical reasons why a technology deployment still may not be successful. Portal administrators often struggle to ease their migration process. let's take a quick look at the top challenges to a successful SharePoint migration. As we can see here, 4 out of the top 5 issues are internal. Deploying any new technology requires a change in behavior on the part of the users. Many migrations fail due to a lack of ability to effectively communicate the expected behavior change and to motivate your users throughout the deployment. As we can see, users are the key to realizing the full potential of your Office 365 migration. Only when your users adopt and embrace the new portal can your rollout really be a success. If you want to drive user adoption to its full potential, you need an effective change management strategy to motivate your users during all stages of the rollout. According to ProSci, the leading change management organization, change management is the application of a structured process and set of tools for leading the people side of change to achieve a desired business outcome. The key to successfully managing this people side of change during a SharePoint migration is to keep in mind your employees and their wants, needs, and behaviors. Whether you are migrating to a new version of SharePoint or Office 365 or rolling out another new technology, you need an effective change management plan to incentivize users and drive user adoption to its full potential. According to Microsoft, there are 4 phases of an effective change management plan when rolling out Office 365. The first step to a successful rollout is planning and sponsorship from executives who actively communicate the value and benefit of the upcoming changes. The second step is raising awareness among your users to inform, involve, and inspire them, resulting in a much higher adoption rate. The third step to an effective migration is learning and training your employees to get them using the new portal right away. The fourth step is assessing readiness and adoption rates among your users by measuring their usage and satisfaction. At each stage of this process, gamification tools are critical to a successful SharePoint migration, from motivating your users, articulating expectations, training, reinforcing the new expected behavior change, and measuring user adoption and satisfaction. I'll walk you through these 4 phases and show you how you can leverage gamification tools as a part of your change management strategy for a successful SharePoint migration. The first step to a comprehensive change management plan is fully engaged executive sponsorship and a well-thought-out plan. You need full and complete buy-in from the decision makers and key influencers in your organization. You can roll out Office 365 with a small team of executives to get them excited. By pairing this rollout with Gamify, executives will enjoy the feeling of competition while learning more about the new features and value propositions firsthand. You also want to fully explain the business case for moving to Office 365. Start by defining goals that will give you the greatest return on your investment. Once these goals are defined, you can choose what behaviors you want to incentivize in your employees. With a fundamental change in the technology employees use daily, you may need to clarify which activities you want users to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing. To change work habits, gamification can explain the need for the change, support the change, form habits, and drive engagement. As you can see, with Gamify, you can choose exactly which metrics you want employees to earn points for, whether it's reading content, modifying old content, or creating new content. This makes it easy to prevent users from engaging in unwanted behaviors, as you incentivize users to take the specific actions you want to encourage. As I just mentioned, admins can easily select the behaviors they want to encourage in their portal to promote adoption and engagement based on the organization stage and their change management plan. There are 3 main groups of user actions, or what we call skills, that administrators can select and gamify to incentivize their end users and departments. There is exploration skills, engagement skills, and contribution skills. SharePoint administrators can leverage Gamify to track these skill groups throughout the various stages of the migration. Let's move to the next stage of change management and see how Gamify can excite users to be more aware of the product's new features during the rollout. The second step to a successful change management strategy is raising awareness. You need to inform, involve, and inspire your users in order to see the expected behavior change required of a new technology deployment. Encourage new behaviors in your users with Gamify by allowing them to see how many points they have and how they rank against their peers. Make your employees feel rewarded and valued for engaging in new behaviors during the migration. Throughout the rollout, it's important to give employees feedback. Gamify makes this step simple by providing users with real-time feedback through points, scores, and badges. Gamify also makes it easy to identify who your champions are. You should reach out to your champions and have them share their Office 365 tips, best practices, and other updates directly in the portal to garner enthusiasm from your end users. With Gamify, you can easily incentivize the behaviors you want to see from your champions. By selecting engagement metrics, such as writing comments, rating content, and interacting with messages, you can encourage your champions to interact with other users and share helpful tips to those who are frustrated or confused. The third step to an effective migration is learning, training your employees to get them using the new portal right away. It's key to know your audience and what their training needs are. Some users will pick up the new work habits quickly. Others will require additional training to reinforce the new ways you want them to work in the new portal. To effectively tailor and target your messaging, it's important to keep in mind, who are you training? What is their role in the organization? What are some of the tasks they perform? What are their permission levels? Once your users start the training process, it's critical to acknowledge their progress and achievements to keep them motivated to continue learning and complete their training. While delivering training on your new version of SharePoint, you will want to incentivize users to follow exploration metrics, such as searching for content, viewing and downloading documents, liking content, and following users. Once your users are more familiar with the features of the new platform, you can choose their targeted metrics based on their job title or department. For example, you may want to encourage the marketing team to create new content in the portal and motivate the sales team to read and comment on this material. The fourth step is assessing readiness and adoption rates among your users by measuring their usage and satisfaction. Throughout the rollout, it's important to assess users' adoption of Office 365 to determine how successful your migration has been. With Gamify, it's easy to see who is embracing the rollout and who needs more encouragement through administrator dashboards that show which users or departments have the highest levels of engagement. It's critical to ask your users for their feedback after they complete the training so you can modify your approach and update and improve your training. And Gamify is helpful with this as it gives employees real-time feedback on their performance. Gamify helps to ease the migration process by allowing administrators to define specific metrics for users to focus on. It also has powerful end-user dashboards to ignite users' interest throughout and after the rollout by encouraging them to compete with their past scores as well as their colleagues. Gamification works well for forming new habits as it prompts people to repeat new activities until eventually they become habits. Since Gamify articulates the expected behavior change by providing users with real-time feedback on their performance, you can be assured users are learning the desired skills. Incorporating gamification strategies to quickly and easily get your employees excited during and after your rollout will make training more effective, increase productivity, improve employee satisfaction, and make your change management plan a success. Let's hop into a live demo of Gamify to see how it can help you manage change and incentivize your employees during all stages of your migration to improve adoption of your new portal. So starting with our administrator dashboard, here you can see how admins can select the metrics they want to track based on their organization's KPIs. You can select from a variety of user activities that you want to incentivize in your portal. For example, you can select if you want your end users to like content, follow content, write posts, or update content in the portal. And it's easy to select the metrics that you would like to track. Now let's take a look at the administrator dashboard. This report gives you an overview of how your groups or users are performing within the organization and what their scores are. Here you can see the dashboard for the HR department. Across the top, you can see a high-level overview of likes over time, user churn over time, and ranking over time. Below the overview, you can see our most adopted groups, so our groups with the highest scores, and we can see HR is in the lead here. We can also see most adopted employees in the group. so the users with the highest scores within the group. And to the right, we can see our group rank, the average score of the group members combined, as well as group engagement, how that average score of the group has changed each month. Underneath that, we can see our user ranking, users with the highest scores within the group in a list format. And up here at the top, we're able to filter this group. So if we select a group, the entire dashboard will dynamically change to show you information specifically for that group. So if we see here, if we change it to QA, all of that information changes to reflect the behavior of that group. Now I'll show you the user dashboard, which is a really powerful way to share information with your users on their performance and motivate them through their achievements and scores. At the top, we have our user score, which is calculated by the overall activity of the user. And in our overview section, the user can see their individual persona. Personas are used to profile the user based on their usage, and there are 3 types of personas. We have Explorer, someone who views content and performs searches, Engager, someone who rates content, likes content, and follows content or people, and a Contributor, someone who writes posts, comments, uploads documents, and more. A user is assigned a persona based on which of these 3 activity areas they are the strongest in. The other 2 types of user behaviors are visualized as skills, where users can track their progress over time. In our case, our user is in the top 3% of all engagers and needs to make progress in the areas of exploration skills and contribution skills. In My Stats, right underneath that, we can see readers, the total number of people who read a user's content, positive ratings, the total number of ratings a user received with a score between 3 and 5, and comments, the number of comments a user has received on their content, as well as engaged, the total number of times the user's content was engaged with. And just underneath that, we can see My Peers, how a user performs compared to their colleagues. So he can get a really good sense of how he stacks up against the user with the highest score, as well as those just above and just below him. And at the top right, we can see recent achievements of the user, what group he is a top contributor in, as well as the number of users that read his content this week, 1,000, and the 5,000 engaged users with his content this week. Underneath, we can see My Best Content, the one content piece with the most readers, as well as the one content piece that has the most followers. And right underneath, what's really neat about Gamify is that our user can go within his dashboard and easily click on top ways to boost your score to see the next actions he needs to take to boost his score and gain more points. We also have this dashboard available as a message bar and as a web part. So here we can see our dashboard displayed right within the SharePoint portal. And again, our user can see how many points he has, what skill he is a top contributor in, as well as how he's doing on his 2 other scores. He can also see the leaderboard for his top skill, as well as the group leaderboard, how his department is doing compared to the other departments. He can also see the leaderboard within his department, QA, and see who are the top people in the 2 other skills, so top explorer and top contributor for this user, as well as right on the side here, he can see those insights, the next actions he needs to take to boost his score right within the SharePoint portal. And we can see this dashboard again here as a web part, so another way that he can visualize his dashboard right within the SharePoint portal. We also have this dashboard available for Yammer for both users and admin. And I'll pull that up now. So now we're going into the Yammer admin dashboard. And similarly to the admin dashboard, we can also select what metrics we want to track and incentivize within our users. and again, see a number of various metrics for Yammer as an admin, as well as the user of Yammer, who will be able to visualize his own progress in Yammer through his own dashboard. So now we have a couple minutes left for a Q&A. I would like to invite you all now to submit your comments and questions in the questions box in GoToWebinar. I can see here we have a question from Rachel. What is the licensing for this? This is a SaaS platform, a yearly subscription based on the number of users being tracked. I'd be happy to send you a link to the pricing page and get you additional information once we know how many additional users you want to track and target with these tools. And we have another question here from Andrew. Can we use it for SharePoint Online? Yes, of course. You can use this tool with SharePoint On-Prem as well as with SharePoint Online. Within Office 365, we can track SharePoint and Yammer forms. In our roadmap, we will soon be releasing tracking capabilities for OneDrive, Teams, and Skype for Business. And we have a question here from James. Can we target different departments? Yes. So one of the things Cardiolog does is connect to SharePoint profiles. So you can track any region, department, branch, job title, and really any other details you use to segment your users and leverage those properties in the analytics as well as with Gamify. And we have another question from Sarah. How easy is it to deploy? What's neat about this tool is it is designed for SharePoint, so there's no need for customization when you want to deploy. With our setup wizard, you can get it up and running within an hour and already start to collect data. And a question from Marcus. Do you have a free trial? So yes, we do have a trial. We have a free trial as well as a proof of concept for people who want a longer evaluation or to try more environments and features versus the free limited trial. We can definitely share more information about what's included in each. And we're just about out of time, so I'm going to wrap up our session today. As a reminder, we've recorded this webinar and we'll be sending out a recording tomorrow for you to share with your colleagues who were unable to attend. And if there were any questions that we didn't get to, we'll reach out to you through email to answer those as well. We invite you to visit us at cardiologanalytics.com to book your free demo of Gamify. You can always tweet us at @Cardiolog. And for more information and helpful tips, you can check out our blog at blog.cardiologanalytics.com. For more information and if you have any questions, you can always reach out and contact us at info@cardiologanalytics.com. So I want to say huge thanks to everyone who joined us today and sent in their questions. And we'll be in touch soon with a recording of the webinar. Thank you for joining us, and you'll hear from us soon. Have a great day.